Hi, I'm Michael Tolosa, host of the Layman podcast, and this week I've talking to Ed Bugg, who is the executive director of Camp Royal in West Virginia. It's a great, fantastic camp. My daughter participated a couple years ago. It's a Christian-based action sports camp, and we'll kind of get into what that means. What is action sports? But welcome. Thank you for joining us, Ed.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
So Camp Royal, can you just give us a little bit of introduction of what that camp is?
Yeah, definitely. The easiest way to put it is an action sports facility. And out of that facility, we do different types of programming. Right now at Camp Royal, the main programming is overnight camps, day camps. We do open sessions, which are kind of public use. You come in, buy a ticket, you get to ride. And then this summer, we're actually trying to do some skate church stuff on Wednesday nights. So Camp Royal is a place where really passions leverage other passions. We all have passions for action sports. And if you know anything about action sports or the passions that we have in those, they turn into kind of our lifestyle. But we wanted a place that takes the lifestyle and the passions of our passions and for the greater passion, being Jesus Christ and our true identity in who he is. So that's really Camp Royal in a nutshell.
Yeah. So the term action sports, that's probably new to a lot of people. We're not talking about basketball and football and soccer. What is an action sport?
Action sports are all over, anything from X Games, anything you see on X Games, whether it's got a motor between your legs or around you, or all the way to, it's funny to say it, but a scooter. Scooter has made a big impact in action sports just because of the energy and the acrobatics that go along with it. So any piece of device, whether it's a ski, snowboard, skateboard, skimboard, surfing, anything like that, where you can really create art with your body and your movements and have style, if it is, would be considered an action sport.
Yeah. So I was a big skateboarder when I was younger. And these are the kinds of like activities that I was not a team sport player. And I think that's the main difference. That's one of the main differences, is that we're not talking about team sports. We're talking about things that your child, your teenager can do, or is doing extracurricular activity. Like when they get home from school, they're going out and skateboarding, or they're riding the scooter, or they're biking. You guys kind of cater to these kinds of these alternative sports, I guess you would say, than what schools offer.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not your stick and ball sports. It's not your traditional team sport. It's definitely, I would say it's done more individual, but the community around it is really what makes it what it is. The black sheep or the misfits, or just the ones on the fringe, those are our people.
Yeah, it's funny because I grew up in the DC area and got into skateboarding then. This is, we're talking about the late 80s. And then I moved to West Virginia. So I moved to West Virginia in 88, and I was like the only skateboarder. Like me and my brother and my cousin, when he would come visit, we would go skating in the town that we lived in, small town. And eventually I found one other person that skated. So there's community around it. Normally, I guess, like these days, you can find a lot more people that are into these things. But yeah, for me, it was like more individual. It's just time to be alone and stuff. But I guess like you guys, especially with your camp, you're fostering this kind of community around these sports. Not only just around the sport, but also you're bringing in the Christian aspect to it as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right about, in the 80s and 90s and, even 2000s, the city planners weren't putting skate parks in. And now, Oak Hill, which is right next to Glen Jean, where we are located in West Virginia, they just opened their brand new concrete skate park, in little old Oak Hill. So I think it's becoming, a little more on the radar. It's becoming a little more accepted. It's, it's kind of cool to see the community in itself take grasp of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I'm from West Virginia. I learned about you guys. We happen to live like about an hour away a couple years ago, and I enrolled our daughter in your all's camp. And I mean, she's shy, so she's not like that great at skateboarding, but she enjoyed being part of the skateboarding classes or in community there. But I was just so surprised that that was nearby in West Virginia. So, like, what brought you to West Virginia? Why did you guys choose that location?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Do you think skateboarding and stuff like that? You think LA or SoCal or Florida? But the founders have had I guess, a relationship with some people in West Virginia around that area. And they ended up visiting, and once they experienced the people and the culture and kind of the need there, they felt that this is where the Lord was leading them. Even so much so that a local family who kind of caught the vision and kind of, saw the potential in what they were creating, donated a school. It's an old 1920s schoolhouse, and that's where our facility is in right now. It was like 100% dilapidated and just huge restoration project just to even get the school functioning. And so your daughter's seen it, they blew out the walls, and they have skate parks inside, which is very useful in the summer in West Virginia. And then, we've since put, different features and different parks around the facility as well. And so, West Virginia was something I don't think they saw coming, but I think they felt the Lord, and that's where the Lord took us. So that's where we're at.
I can see the benefit of sending your kid to a camp like this, just to get away from their phones, get away from the distractions of maybe city life or suburban life. I think it's great that you guys are in the rural area of West Virginia.
Yeah, and like you said, we're really close to some of the regional cities. DC, we get a lot of people from Northern Virginia all the way down here to Charlotte. 4 hours away. There's a lot of cities and a lot of, like you said, urban environments in those areas. So to be disconnected and to be in the woods is great.
Yeah, and we didn't go over this, but what is the age group that you guys cater to?
Yeah, so in the past, it was just, like I said, day camps and overnight camps. And so we were doing about, 8 years old, 9 years old, all the way till 17 years old. Most recently, in the last couple of years, we've tried to branch out and do different programming that allows us to reach, all ages of the population. And so for some features like camp, most of our camps are going to be from 9 till 17 years old. You can be a camper, but different things like open sessions or some of our contests, you can be old and come and hang out with us. We want all kinds of kinds. So different programs, broad spectrum of reach. So we're trying to cater to our complete industry.
So how did you get involved in this? And tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as a Christian and as an action sports enthusiast.
I grew up in Virginia, and I was lucky enough to have a dad who gets involved with anything and everything. He's the social butterfly, super athletic, super active, and he wanted to live in a place where his kids could have activities. And so I was lucky enough to grow up on Massanutten Mountain in Virginia. Just enough sport to kind of experience everything, whether it was skiing or snowboarding or biking or, basketball or golf or any of those things. And so I grew up playing a lot of stick and ball sports my whole life, and mountain biking and snowboarding came a little bit later in my life. My mom gave me and my dad a ski lesson for our birthdays when I was about, 12 or something like that. And it was over. We were hooked. We did the lessons, and then after the lessons, we'd stay until close, just learning how to fall and ski together. And that was one of the core memories of my life. And that really is what flipped me over to action sports. soon after that, I followed mountain biking. Still an avid mountain biker to this day. And those are the two sports I really held on to. And so once I was in 8th grade, we were getting tired of skiing, me and my hood rat homies, running around the mountain. We'd ski all day and we knew the mountain by heart. And we were like, let's try this snowboarding thing, and so we rent snowboards for the day, and just a bunch of just misfits out on the hill, just making it happen. And it hooked us forever. So much so that during the summers we were loosening trucks on skateboards so we can mimic the feeling of making turns on snowboards. And we were hooked from then. I moved to Atlanta when I was 16, and I saw Transcendence, the video of a snowboard flick, and it was VHS, and Travis Rice was in the movie, and that was it for me. I wanted to live in the mountains. I wanted to live, in that lifestyle. And so that was a big trajectory in my action sports life. And my Christian life follows the same suit. My mom was super type A, and we were involved in church, from a very young age. And we were there for everything, and we were there for everything early. To this day, my mom will get to the movie theater like before the previews, and she has assigned seats and everything. My two kids will be like, why does Mimi get to the theater so early? I'm like, I don't know, dude. That's just how she is, And so we were at church a lot, and so it was a part of my life, but not until I got into college, when I got into a group of homies, and the Lord really changed my perspective about what my faith meant and what it meant to me. And so marrying action sports and my faith was something that the Lord just kind of revealed to us. And we volunteered to work at Camp Royal maybe 3 seasons ago. It'll be 4 seasons ago. And we took our kids, because my kids were skating at the time, and we had went up there, and we just got sucked in. I have a background in ski resorts, and so that type of operation kind of is within me. And seeing some opportunities for us to step in. My wife is a nurse, and so she was highly sought after to work at Action Sports Camp for the summer. And so we ended up volunteering for like 6 weeks, and just really got to know the guys and the mission and the vision. And it was something that we dove into. The Lord really made a place for us to use our skills and to use our passions to ultimately leverage, the ultimate passion and growing the kingdom. And so since then, I've kind of worked for them, for Camp Royal, and been on staff, and just helped try to propel the mission through action sports and what we do. So yeah, a lot of roads to get where we're at, but that's how God does things. So
you guys are very upfront that this is a Christian camp, that the main focus is Jesus. It's not like a bait and switch. Like, you don't come here for skateboarding, and then, we kind of slide in a Bible study here and there. So can you talk about like how is the format of these camps, these activities, and how do you put Christ at the forefront?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's something that I think it's not a bait and switch thing. And that's just kind of gross feeling for us. But having action sports kids, they know if you're being real or not. Action sports is something that you, like you said, you do individually, but it's something you share with the people around you. And it's very evident if you land that trick or you don't, or you can do that grab or you can't, or you can ride that feature or you're too scared. Like, it's very evident. And so action sports kids are very discerning when it comes to if you're real or not. And so for us, we're like you said, we're very upfront. We're very real about it. This is who we are. This is an aspect of our life. But it's not so much in the sense that this is a Christian camp with skating and scootering and biking sprinkled in. This is a full-on action sports camp. We hire, the best coaches, we have a former world #1 scootering coach who's going to be giving out skills and advice and mentoring these kids. This summer we're going to have another highly influential YouTuber and signature product holder with Lucky Scooters. He's going to be on our staff all year long. And so it's not like we just dabble in one or dabble in the other. We're all in with all of it. And so it's not really about how do we get Christ in the middle of it. It's us and the leadership being who we are and understanding that Christ is the forefront, our true identity. And in all honesty, skating and action sports are an extension of that. And so we tell the kids, we're very upfront about our schedule and what we do and how we have devotions in the morning. And then we have club times in the afternoons. And a club time is just a time where we come and we dive into the word. We open up the Bible. We talk about it to kids. We have an acronym. I'm probably getting off script, but we have an acronym, and it's ROYAL, ROYAL. And this is our message. This is kind of our mantra for every week. And the R stands for being real, and the O stands for being open. And those first two things don't come just because it's convenient with R and O. It comes because that's who we are as action sports people, and that's who we are with Christ. And just telling these kids, this is who we are. This is what we do. It's easy to put them together. And our kids, some of the kids are not faith-based. Some of the kids are there for the action sports, but they know that it's a safe place, and they know that it's a place where they can be themselves. And so they come along with it. And that gives us a chance just to show them that Jesus is a huge part of our life, and the passions of Christ eclipse everything else. But while we're on this earth, God gives us passions for things. And what better way to tell kids to use their passions to seek Jesus than to be doing it right in front of them, and teaching them to get better at not only their passions, but understanding who, their true identity in Christ is. So, yeah, I hope that answered the question. I know I was rounding about there, but that's just, we're just open about it and real about it, like you said. And, God's providential. He's got his hand on it. He's going to bring the kids there, and the kids and the spirit are going to be receptive. So
that's awesome. And now I'm curious what the Y and the A and the L stand for.
Well, if you want to know, R is real, O is open, Y is yours, Jesus is yours, A is being all in. What does it take to be all in with Christ? And L, regardless of what you think of anything of the prior letters, L means that you're loved, and you're loved before you were born, while you were born, before you were, anybody in Christ. Christ loved you, while you were an enemy. We were loved first, so.
Awesome. So tell me, do you guys have every year different instructors that come in, these different pros, or how does that work?
Yeah, we do. We have some pros that have kind of been there from the beginning. And then we have some pros that we meet. We have some pros that recently turned to Christ. We have some pros that have a great schedule. We have some pros that go to the Olympics, so we have to pivot like last year. We have, we have them all over the board. And it's just really who God chose us for that season. We pick pros based on our programming as well. So when we have progression camp this summer is our overnight camp, and it's a camp where if you're motivated, it doesn't matter how good you are. I have to qualify it, because if you're motivated, then it's a chance for you to grow. It's a chance for you to grow in your food and your nutrition. We talk about nutrition, and we talk about good food, and we offer great catered food, not traditional camp food. We talk about our mental health. And so we have the pros that come in that deal with things on the scooter side of life, and then also people who deal with just mental health and life in general. We talk about our faith and our spirituality and progressing that and what that looks like. And then also our skill. And so we have great coaches that come in to do all of those things. And so it takes a special coach that of a high capacity that can really handle and juggle all of those things and deliver that well. And then we also have coaches that are there for like day camps and stuff. And we try to tap into our local our local kids to come in and give the best training they can to all of our local audience. And then we also have some pros that come down to just be around and be a billboard, if you will. And so we've had anywhere from, YouTube guys who've been around, millions of people on their YouTube channel to local teams that bring their teams up to just see what we have going on. So it's really an equation of what are you equipped for, and how deep are you willing to go, and what does the Lord have in store for you?
What's the kind of environment in the action sports world? Is Christianity, like, is that something that typically is kind of hidden under the rug, or is that a place where people can be open about that?
I think it's something that you can be open about as long as, like we're talking about, you're real.
Mhm.
Action sports is a no joke deal. You can't fake it. That's the attitude. That's the culture. And so if you think about the Southeast is a very judgmental, this kind of Bible Belt scenario for Christianity. And so if you look at the broader spectrum, going out to California, I spent I spent a few years in California. My oldest son was born there. Man, they are so open to everything, which is good and bad. But if you're a real athlete and you're a real, action sports doer, if you will, your faith is naturally a part of that. There's no, hiding it. There's no putting it under the rug. We wear it on our sleeve. We have stickers on our helmets, on our bikes, on our skateboards. There's a lot more of a Christian penetration in the action sports industry than most people know. It's just, are you looking for it, and that kind of thing. We have an athlete that's on Nitro Circus, and he has his own board brand, and it's completely plastered with Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. There we have a connection with a Supercross team that's faith-based, and Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. They're doing Bible studies in the pits before Supercross. All the way down to wakeboarding. Some of the best wakeboarders in the world, faith-based, and have huge stories, and it's all over the place. I think it's action sports in general is not as publicized or seen in the spectrum, if you will, of TV and broadcasting. So that makes it a little bit under the radar. And so maybe it seems Christianity is a little under the radar too, but being real is the caveat there. And if you're real, then the action sports athletes know it, and there's no denying it after that point.
How can we support you, other than registering our child today at weareroyal.com? How can we pray for you? What are some of the needs that you guys have, and maybe some of the struggles that you guys are going through right now?
Yeah, prayer obviously is number one. We're a nonprofit, and we need a lot of support from the outside to make this type of programming happen. And prayer really opens the door. There's not a lot of individuals that work in a camping environment, that are faith-based, that love action sports, and have the desire to work in that field. And so for us, just bringing the workers, the harvest is plenty, the workers are few. And so having workers is something that we definitely need prayer for. Another thing of support is, just being seen, spreading the word, sharing what we do, sharing our mission to people around you or the kids around you, the skate parks, that kind of stuff. It's something that is hard to do, marketing wise, and that kind of stuff, is to get the word out, because we are kind of a niche little camp. And then the last thing is donate, and not in the way that we need the money, but in a way that we use a lot of donor dollars, thousands of dollars a year, to help bring kids to camp. And so our whole goal is to fill camp up, not to, pad our underlying, budgets or anything like that, but we just want kids to come in and get affected by the gospel, and by Jesus. And if they can leave, learning how to kickflip, that's great. But if they can learn to understand their true identity in their relationship and to who God is, that's the whole mission. That's the whole goal. And that's the first step, I think, of all of us in Christianity, is seeing who we are in light of who God is. That's it. That's the starting point. And so that's the ways that you can support us. Prayer by far is sought after more than anything else, because prayer opens those opportunities for being shared and having some audience, but then also, donating and helping these kids get to camp.
Now you talked about getting workers. Can adults volunteer with you over the summer, or just for a week, or are you looking for just full-time people? Like how can adults step in and help you guys?
Yeah, for overnight camps, we have parent volunteers that can come in and help us facilitate some of the back end admin stuff of logistics of getting meals and breaking down the kitchen, dining room area to working snack shack areas. So we definitely have a need there. And that's all in our website as well. And then also full-time workers, for sure. Full-time workers are a big deal. Sometimes our camping model gets construed with seasonal work, which is good and is needed. And, we do have some, intern type positions that people can come in and be a part of, for like a gap year or something like that. Or if you just want to volunteer your summer because you're in college or you're in high school and, you need some work to be done, come on in and get involved. And then also, professionals like me who make it their career, we definitely have positions that are available and positions that need to be filled. And so, yeah, reach out to us and let us know where you're at and kind of what you're thinking. And let's have a conversation.
How do you ensure safety for children who go there overnight?
Yeah, that's a super good question. We do a lot of things. We do a lot of front end training. We have sexual awareness training. We have different types of safety training in a camp setting before any of our counselors or any of even, me, I go through it as well. Any of our leaders go into camp for the camp season. We put up parameters where you have to have 2 or more people together always. And so I say that saying camp wise. So the campers have to be in groups of at least 2 to be able to, use the facilities or, use a different part of camp or something like that. Our counselors now in the cabins, because that's a fear of parents, of these counselors who are typically college stage or just after college, around 30, are with my kids. And these are my greatest treasure. These are my, greatest gift. It's really difficult to let my 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old go off and spend the night 24/7 in this, camp in Glen Jean. We have 2 counselors per cabin. And then in each cabin, we'll have 14 kids. Counselors are up with the kids and with the kids all night. And they get a break during the instruction time. So during instruction time, our pros come in and run the camp. And then during club time, me and my other leaders, we run the devotions and that kind of thing. So we have this constant cycle of rest and on task, rest and on task, and rest and on task to keep everybody at the camp, fresh, keep everybody at camp ready. All of the leaders are stay in camp housing. And so I'll be in camp housing just like, the campers are as well. And so if there's any situations that arise during the night or during the day, we're right there as well. We have a completely fenced in property. And so we're boarded, completely. We lock the fence at all times, because we've had instances where we've left the fence open during, just a regular afternoon, and different people drive their car on the campus to turn around or anything like that. And to us, that doesn't seem like a threat, but it's a smoldering threat. So we cut all of that stuff out completely. And really, it's the forefront of preparing the counselors with the mindset that you are accepting incredible guardianship during this week of camp.
Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I obviously you're on the show, so I'm going to do my part to help promote what you guys are doing. I think it's a very unique mix of, faith-based or Christian and action sports, and it's in West Virginia. It's just such a unique opportunity that I'm not aware of any other similar ones. So again, thank you, and God bless you.
Appreciate it, Michael.